योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचा मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीना पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि शान्ति 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 हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः Jai Gange. My name is Ganga Nandini, and you have hopefully watched or will be watching the interview about my life and my journey from illness to wellness, from living in California, being diagnosed with autoimmune disorder, really being on the search of health, and then coming to India, coming to Bharat, coming to the banks of Ganga, to Rishikesh, Yog Nagari Rishikesh, the yoga capital of the world, and finding a life that is in health, that is in balance, that is in yoga, and striving to live that more and more every day. And so I hope that my journey inspires you. And today, this morning session that we're going to do is about women's health, is the theme of the International Day of Yoga this year, which is yoga for women's empowerment. And I think yoga is for everyone's empowerment, but it's especially for also women's empowerment, and it's an incredibly powerful tool for women to really utilize in their lives. हर एक नारी शक्ति के लिए, हर एक व्यक्ति के लिए योग बहुत ही लाभदायक है. योग से अनेकों बीमारियों का, अनेकों जीवन के तनाव का सुझाव मिलता है. पूज्य स्वामी जी, my guru, पूज्य स्वामी चिदानंद सरस्वती जी, he says yoga is a great stress buster and an immunity booster. वो हमारी इम्यूनिटी को स्ट्रॉन्ग रखता है और हमारे तनाव को दूर रखता है. तो इसलिए वो कहते हैं योग करो, रोज़ करो और मौज करो. And so do yoga, be yoga, live yoga, love yoga, learn yoga, and start from yoga day. But not just, yoga is not a season. We just do it for yoga day, 21st June, and then we go to sleep. No, yoga is the reason. It's not a season. And so the reason for our life, the reason for living a more balanced life is yoga. And so let us really explore how yoga can be useful for Shakti, for women. And so today we're looking at, I want to speak to you from a place where I'm not a teacher. I don't want to speak to you from someone who is giving you a diagnosis. मैं आपसे इस तरह से बात करना चाहती हूँ कि मैं भी एक शक्ति हूँ, और मैंने अपने जीवन में जो देखा है उससे मुझे जो सीख मिली है, वो सीख से मैं आपको ये शेयर करना चाहती हूँ. उन एक्सपीरियंसेस, आई वांट टू शेयर माय लाइफ जर्नी, my life's learning, my life's experiences with you, not as a teacher, not as a yoga expert, not as a guru, but as a friend who is on that journey, as a woman who is on that journey, and as somebody who is striving to live yoga every day, not from a person who has perfected this in her life, but somebody who is very committed and very dedicated to bringing it more and more into my life. So that is the first disclaimer, the first important point. But I think I wanted to speak to you also because when we speak about women's empowerment, women are Shakti. In Hindi we call women Shakti. So women are the power. But what happens through our lives, somehow certain societal norms, certain ways we are incultured and conditioned to believe that somehow we are less than. And so, like Hanumanji needed to be reminded that Hanumanji, you are Hanumanji. Yes, you can fly the length of the ocean. And similarly, women need to be inspired to remember that they have that power within them. And it is that power within us that we need to catalyze. And so today we're going to speak about some ways that we can bring that into our lives. So I think the key to leading a healthy and empowered life is leading a life of balance, leading a life that is moderate, that is balanced in its approach. And balance means that all of the spectrums of our existence, because we are not just this body, there's so many other elements to us, and we'll explore that. But initially, that all of those spectrums are given equal weightage. They are balanced in our lives. And one of the ways that we know whether we are living in balance or we're not living in balance is to check whether we are in a sense of health and wellness in our lives. हम क्या अपनी पूरी ऊर्जा में, पूरी शक्ति में अपने आप को महसूस करते हैं, या हम अपने आप को थोड़ा थका महसूस करते हैं, तनाव में महसूस करते हैं, या हमें कोई ऐसी कंडीशन है, we are going through a condition, a chronic condition in our lives that we might have brought in past sanskaras, which we are dealing with in this life. And that can be a chronic illness like an autoimmune disorder or hypothyroidism or diabetes or cancer. I mean, there are many illnesses that women particularly are susceptible to, and we look at those things in our lives and we say, okay, this means that either I'm not living my life in balance, or I have come in with past baggage that in this lifetime, my job is to manage. My job is to bring a sense of ease in my life. And so living a balanced life is important. The measure of whether we are living in a balanced life or not is our health, is our general sense of well-being. And so what is health, right? The World Health Organization says that essentially health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not just merely an absence of disease and infirmity. So essentially WHO is saying that स्वास्थ्य सिर्फ बीमारी का ना होना नहीं है कि हमारे पास बीमारी नहीं है, हम स्वस्थ हैं. नहीं, एक्चुअली हमारी शारीरिक, हमारी मानसिक और हमारी सोशल, हमारी हम कैसे किस परिवेश में रहते, किस तरह से दूसरों के साथ व्यवहार करते, सोशल स्फीयर्स में how we behave in all of these spectrums is actually what health is. How well we feel, how healthy, how energetic we feel, how alive we feel is actually our spectrum of health. And so for many of us, we need to think about, okay, if we don't go through disease, then can we have a greater sense of health in our lives? And what does that look like? And so today we want to talk about the different spheres of health. So the WHO has brought in physical, mental and social. But I want to ask you, are there other elements that you think is important? And when I reflected on this question, मुझे लगा कि actually, there are other elements. Yes, there are other elements. And there are physical, mental, of course, but also for women, emotional. And I think even though sometimes we lump mental and emotional together, we should look at mental and emotional as separate. So physical, mental, emotional, social, which includes our family, our friends, our workplace, how we are with strangers, all of that, social, right? And also if we do service, if we go and do community service, our interactions in those times is all social, right? So social and our spiritual. And lastly also, even though these are the 5 main ones, one that we speak about often at Parmar and with Pujya Swamiji, he's always speaking about this, is environmental. And he says, अगर अपने पानी नहीं शुद्ध होगा, if our water is not clean, अगर हमारा वायु नहीं शुद्ध होगा, हमारी soil नहीं शुद्ध होगी, तो हम कैसे स्वस्थ रह सकते हैं? And so our environmental health is so important to our overall health. So these are 6 main dimensions of health that we are looking at. So let's look at just the physical element of it. So the physical element, how can we manage our physical health? So our physical health we can manage by exercise, we can manage by eating right, we can manage by watching our sleep, by sleeping enough. We can manage by making sure that we have times where we are off our screens and our devices and our phones. Those are all ways that we can take care of this body, this cross body, physical body, right? So when we speak about exercise, there is, you can go to the gym and you can do fitness exercises, and that's a way to take care of the body. But a more holistic approach to taking care of the body is through yoga asana. And yoga asana helps us bridge between the physical and the mental and the emotional and the spiritual and often the environmental also. Yoga asanas that are recommended for women's health are a few. Today we'll just touch upon a few. So the first and foremost that I would recommend is when we sit in Sukhasana, and we just close our eyes and just be in cross-legged seated. How many times in the day do we actually just close our eyes, palthi maar ke aankh band karke बैठते हैं? कुछ क्षणों के लिए हम वैसे ही बैठ जाएं और आंखें बंद करके श्वास प्रश्वास पे ध्यान दें. And when we just breathe in and breathe out, bring our awareness to being in this body temple. This body is a temple, this body is a gift. And to really realizing and honoring and being grateful for this body temple, इस शरीर के प्रति कृतज्ञता महसूस करते हुए. So Sukhasana से now moving into Bhadra Asana, or in some practices we call Bada Konasana. And in Bhadra Asana, we first come into Dandasana, bring our soles of our feet together, and then let the knees hang out to the side. Bring the ankles as close as we can to the hips or the pelvic region, and then just try to keep the spine straight, chin parallel to the ground, close the eyes, and keep the hands interlocked around your toes. And that is a beautiful asana to help open up the pelvic region, to help open up the lower chakras. Because a lot of women hold a lot of suppressed energy in their Muladhara chakra, in their Swadhisthana chakra, and it's not even able to come up from their Manipur chakra. And so what we want to do is open up those lower chakras so that there is circulation in that region. And then that circulation allows you to move up to higher frequencies of energy, right? So Bhadra Asana is a beautiful asana for women's health, and it's also really beneficial for when you are on your menstrual periods and going through cramps, for example. So Bhadrasana. And so from there, we're going to come back into Dandasana and come into Vajrasana, where our feet are bent and our toes are brought together, heels are out, and our buttocks sit in between the heels and the toes. And this is Vajrasana, or elephant pose, or trunk pose. And so in this pose, how do we feel with our bodies? The body is in alignment, right? So the head, the spine, and the pelvic region is in one line. And with that, what we want to do is see that in this space, our abdominal region is being given the amount of spaciousness it needs, because digestion is one of the processes of the body that takes the most amount of energy. And so Vajra Asana is one of those asanas that can be practiced after meals. When you sit in 5 minutes in Vajra Asana after meals, it helps with stimulating the digestive system, stimulating your digestion. It's incredibly beautiful. And it's really great to bring circulation into the lower region, because you have prevented circulation from going down into your feet. And so all of the blood gets fed into the organs of the reproductive region as well as the abdominal region. So it's a beautiful asana for women's health. It's a beautiful asana for everyone's health. And then we come from Vajrasana into Balasana, into child's pose. And from child's pose, where we actually bring our hands up, all the way up. And when we bring our hands all the way up, stretch the body fully, we are going to bring our body forward, engaging our core, engaging our navel center. The core, Nabhi Chakra Kaya Vyuha Jnanam. This is Yoga Sutras tells us that Nabhi Chakra is so important. We bring our hands down all the way and we come into Balasana. We remember this, Nabhi Chakra Kaya Vyuha Jnanam. Can we bring our awareness to the Nabhi Chakra, to the navel center, from the place where the mother gave us nourishment, and bring our forehead to the earth, allow our connection with the earth to be re-established. Mata Bhumi, Putro Ham Prithivya. Yes, we hear these mantras in the Vedas, we hear these mantras from our gurus, but that essence is coming into this asana where mother is our earth and we in Bal Asana become her child. We reconnect with the earth, reconnect our navel center and say, okay, we establish a sense of grounding, balance and stability from the earth. Another beautiful asana for women. And so from Balasana, we do a dynamic posture here. So from Balasana, we'll push into Bhujangasana or Cobra pose, bringing the bhav of Aishwarya, of bringing the bhav of real richness in our life, of sahas, of courage in our life. And so as we push up, bring the shoulders down and back, and we look up, we remember that we are originally, the source of ourselves is the infinite, and we connect with that infinite source. We allow the energy of the spine to move up in this exercise, and also push our navel center, keep our navel center on the ground. If we want, if we're not able to bring up our chest all the way, we can keep our navel center on the ground. We can do a modified version. And so as you exhale out, come back into child's pose, breathe into Bhujangasana, and you can do this a few rounds. You can do this a few rounds. Yes, breathing out as you come back into child's pose, breathing in as you come into Bhujangasana. Breathing in as you come up into Bhujangasana and breathing out as you come down into child's pose. In, out, in, out. And feel that. And then come back into child's pose. And from child's pose, you will come into mountain, Parvat Asana. And you bring the hips up. Let the head come down. And really what you're feeling is all of the energy rushing down to the head. All of the blood circulation rushing down to the head. And allowing our bodies, we spend so much time standing all day long. The head is up. Allowing the head to come down, allowing the ego, the identity to come down, being in a state where our vulnerability is our greatest strength. And so allowing ourselves to realize that strength in this mountain, bowing our head down and lifting the hips up, lifting that tailbone up and feeling the power and the strength of Parvat Asana. Also an incredibly beautiful asana for women, women's health and everyone's health in general. And there are certain sequences of asanas that we can also do, like Surya Namaskar, which I think on a daily basis is a wonderful practice to bring into your own practice. So if you can do nothing else and you can only do 3 sets or 11 sets of Surya Namaskar before you get up and go out for work, that's sufficient at least. Yes, enough to give your body and all of the different chakras of the body. It's a very balanced sequence. So it starts with Sthit Pratna Asana, breathing in, Hasta Utthana Asana, lifting both hands up over the head. Exhale out, Padhastasana, bringing the right foot back, breathing in, Ashwasanchalasana, both feet back, exhaling out, Santulit Asana, knees, chest, chin, Kumbhak, hold the breath, Ashtanga Namaskar, Bhujangasana, breathing in, exhaling out, Parvatasana, breathing in, Ashwasanchalasana, exhaling out, Padhastasana, both feet forward, breathing in Hastottanasana and then Sthit Pratna Asana. So Surya Namaskar has immense benefits. It's an incredibly beautiful asana to help stimulate all of the organs of the body. But for many people, they're not able to do Surya Namaskar. So then we can do asanas as per what your body can allow you to do. And then the next practice that we can do is Chandra Namaskar. So for Chandra Namaskar, on times of full moon, it is especially beneficial to really bring in the energy, the Shakti within us, to really empower, to ignite that Shakti. So Chandra Namaskar is another beautiful sequence that you can practice to bring in and empower this female physical existence that has hormones, that has these cycles and that flows with the cycles, in harmony with the cycles. So these are some of the asanas for the physical part. Then we look at the mental part. How do we bring about a greater sense of mental health? And in mental health, we are speaking about different ways that we can start training our minds to relax, to let go, and to then be able to hold on to things that are actually worthy of our time and energy. And oftentimes, as women, we get so pulled in a million directions that we forget actually kis cheez ko pakarna hai. And so there are these conscious relaxation practices that we can do that will help us bring ourselves back into a greater sense of health and well-being. And so conscious relaxation, meditation, pranayams. Pranayams are actually something that help the mind and also help the emotions. So oftentimes when we say, do Anulom Vilom, for example, and let's practice actually Anulom Vilom, where we take our right hand, bring all 4 fingers into the middle of the palm, lifting the last 2 fingers, and we take our Vishnu Mudra, place the thumb of the right hand on the right nostril, like a deep Ujjayi breathing. Hold the left and exhale out slowly from the right. Breathing in from the right. Hold the right, exhale out from the left. This time hold the left, breathing in from the right. Hold, exhale out from the left. Breathing in from the left. Hold, exhale out from the right. That's one set. Release, relax. You can continue these pranayams on your own. Anulom Vilom is a beautiful pranayam. It helps immediately balance the Ida and the Pingala, the sun and the moon, the masculine and the feminine. It exists. These energies exist in all of us. There's a feminine energy, there's Shakti in all men. And then there's the masculine energy in all females also. And so the Shiva and the Shakti, the Purusha and the Prakriti is these energies that we must manage in our lives. And I think that is the key to living a balanced life, to living a life of empowerment. And so Brahmari is another beautiful pranayam that you can practice. And you can bring your hand into Shanmukhi Mudra and bringing all of the fingers on your face like this and make a sound without opening the mouth. Like this, and just continue 3 or 4 rounds. And release, relax. So Brahmari is another beautiful pranayam you can practice. Mantras, chanting is a beautiful way of managing our mind and our emotions and our spiritual aspect of our health. Sacred chanting that we hear, Vedic chanting that we hear, there's an alchemical nature of those mantras. So just allow yourself to listen to the mantras, to learn the mantras, to recite those mantras, and to then really imbibe them in your lives, because they're so powerful. And it's such an incredibly powerful way of managing your mind and your emotions. And for emotions in our mind also, we can look at them kind of collectively, because even though the mind has the aspects of thinking and cognition and planning and all of that, the emotions also have their way of feelings and actually have their, for example, cravings and this feeling of sadness and feeling of happiness. And so how do we manage both of those things together? Because these are not things that are in isolation. It is not that our body is separate from our mind and our mind is separate from our emotion. They're all together, right? So with the emotional aspect, what I've seen that helps me very much is journaling. There's so many things that your inner self has experienced, your subconscious has registered, your consciousness has registered. And when you write down and you journal at the end of the day, you have an opportunity to acknowledge that voice, but then you have an opportunity to redirect that voice or to give that voice a channel. And so oftentimes after journaling, I do a gratitude journaling. I thank myself for all of the beautiful things that I was able to do, that I'm very proud that I was able to do, that I'm very grateful for. And then I also thank all of the ways that the universe or the community or the people around me have supported me throughout the day. Why that happens is it creates this bhav that I'm supported, I'm nourished. And that perspective shifts from seeing what went wrong in the day to seeing actually all the ways that things went right in the day. And therefore then brings us to an energy that attracts more right into the world. And so I think it's really important for us to really channel and kind of train the mind to think that way. And when we start training the mind to think that way, our emotions also facilitate that direction in our lives as well. And it takes some time, it takes consistency, and it's something that is a constant practice. And so I really encourage journaling, gratitude journaling, affirmations. Waking up in the morning, the first thing to do is prayer, which is a spiritual thing as well, but mental and emotional as well, and is greatly beneficial for our physical health. And so before as you wake up, having a morning practice where it starts with a prayer. Thank you, God, for allowing me to wake up today. There's so many people who haven't woken up. And I think as women, we need to look at, we've been trained to look at all of the possibilities of things going wrong, but also look at the possibilities of all the things that have gone right in the day. And so starting the day with prayer and thanking God in that sense of gratitude, waking up. And then when you go and you look at yourself in the mirror, saying, you are beautiful, you are divine, you are pure, you are whole, you are complete, and you are love, you are peace, you are joy. And thank you. Thank you for offering me this opportunity to see you and to be with you. And so starting the day with yourself in that moment, with those affirmations. Because so much of our time we've been kind of cultured or conditioned to think always on the negative aspects, and to really reset ourselves is really very important. And that takes care of the mind and the emotions. And another thing that really helps with emotions, especially for women, I think one of the ways that emotions, even though we're not able to communicate that much, sometimes we've been told to not communicate. So we've learned how not to communicate our emotions. But if there are friends, if there are support systems in our lives where we can communicate with our emotions, by all means do that. Do that. But if not, write to yourself. Be your own best friend. And with that, it's also really important that there's some things that we cannot communicate with anyone. And then to have that space, that spiritual, foundation to which you say, God, you know everything that went right in the day, that went wrong in the day, and I surrendered it all into you. And to be able to create a relationship with God or consciousness or the divine power or the divine energy, that you can share everything, that there's like your best friend. And to have that space in your home where you have an altar or you have a space and where you can develop and cultivate a relationship with God. And that is so important for our spiritual health. But spiritual health feeds, like I said, all these different aspects, they feed each other. It's like that boat, a leak in one part of the boat makes the whole boat go down. And so actually bringing in these practices and any one part of these aspects of your health helps all of the boat, all of the body mind complex, all of yourself. And so another thing that works really well for our mind and our emotions and our spirituality is kala, music, talent, art, singing, dancing. Bring in these elements into your life. Really allow yourself to utilize this power of art, this power of music, the power of ragas, to let your emotions come out. And it need not be that you're the best singer. You could be a bathroom singer. But listen to music, listen to like I listen to the drone sound, the scale of C, and I just let it play, it's like Tanpura drone sound, and just let it play and just make sounds. Ah, and it really stimulates our Vishuddhi chakra and allows us to express our emotions in ways that we're not able to express with words. So these are just some tools that you have to utilize. We looked at the physical elements, we looked at the mental and the emotional elements collectively. Spiritual element includes being around faith communities, having a weekly schedule or a monthly or bi-weekly schedule as often as you can, to go to a place of faith. Whether you feel that a place of faith is a temple or a synagogue or a church or whatever, that place of faith or a gurudwara, or if it's just the mountains, it's just nature, that can be your place of faith. just being in a place of faith, knowing that there's an energy that exists that is much bigger, much larger, is taking care of everything. Everything is being taken care of by this energy. And allowing yourself in that place of faith to surrender, like the drop in the ocean. So that's really important for spiritual health, to have that grounding, and then to read scriptures, to read books that are in our tradition. So if you're following yoga, to have a time where you read the Gita, or a page of the Gita, or you read a page of the Yoga Sutras, or you learn or you think about a sutra throughout the day. There must be parts of your life that you kind of replug into that spiritual energy, and it really helps you in your overall health. So that is spiritual health. And then environmental health. Can we plant more trees? Can we do something to protect our water bodies? Can we utilize less plastic, wear more eco-friendly, buy more eco-friendly, have a vegetarian lifestyle? And there's so much that if you look on our pages, on our YouTube channels for Parmat Niketan, Pujya Swamiji and Sadhviji, speaking about the necessity of being vegetarian for living a sustainable life, of really thinking about what we consume, what we eat, what we put on our plate, what we buy, what we wear. All of these things, all of these decisions that we have, they have a great impact on the planet. And therefore, our responsibility towards that planet is really important. And our responsibility towards cultivating our environment is really important. And ensuring that environmental health is there for us, our future generations, and our community at large. And that's why also having periods, even if you're living in a metropolitan city, to come out every month, go into the mountains, because as Swamiji says so beautifully, when you go to nature, you become one with nature. There's an ability of being in the mountains, of being amongst the trees, that just allows the mind to silence like nothing else. And so really allow yourself to have periods that are consistent in your schedule, where you align with Mother Nature, where you reconnect with Mother Nature, and you realize that everything is being taken care of and nourished and protected, and you're part of that big divine plan. And that's so important. What happens is, when we focus on any one thing too much, that is where we have dis-ease. When we have a state of balance and we look at all these different things that are important and crucial for our health, then only can we really cultivate health. If we in our lives are focusing too much on our professional development, too much on our ambitions, then we will see that there are other elements of our life that are actually really stressed, that are really neglected. Or if we're, for example, too much focusing on our family and our children and having them be a certain way, then we are seeing stress and deprivation in other areas of our life. And so really, yoga is about establishing a sense of health amongst all these elements of our lives, and doing practices and bringing in practices. That is what yoga is bringing in practices into our life that cultivate and nourish all of those different elements together in a holistic way. And how do we do that? Let's end with that. Because when we wake up, like I said, have a morning routine, even if it's just 15 minutes. That in that morning, even if it's just as you're waking up, as you're getting out of bed, as you're brushing your teeth, as you're putting on your clothes, have a routine. And if you can bring in a meditation practice, if you can bring in a conscious breathing practice in just those first 15 minutes, that is enough for your morning routine. It starts your day with positivity. And then throughout the day, have places in the day where you take breaks. You get up out of your chair, you put away your phone when you eat your food, you stop looking at the screen, you close your eyes, and you take a deep breath in. As you have pauses in your day, you realize, thank you, God, for giving us this instrument that is able to do all of these activities, and that I have a responsibility of making sure that this instrument is functioning in its greatest potential. So having breaks, ensuring the vitality of this body temple, throughout the day. And at the end of the day, unwinding, allowing the body to unwind, to offer it gratitude for what it has done, and to have a meditation practice, to have a gratitude practice, to have a journaling practice, and to leave everything from the mind and from the body and from the work and from all of this at the altar, or leave it at the desk, and then come into your bed and then go to sleep. Really have a moment in that where you are just resting. And there are so many techniques and there's so many practices. And so what we'll recommend is join our channels, stay in touch with us, join our courses if you're interested, and come to the banks of Ganga. Because there's nothing more empowering for women than to see and to learn from the flow of Mother Ganga. और मैंने अपने जीवन में देखा, I've seen it in my life, just being on her banks, just watching her flow is so beautiful. She is this eternal river that has flowed for so many centuries, has carried so much of the history of this land. And it's a real blessing and a real privilege to learn how to flow in our lives like Mother Ganga. So come to the banks of Ganga, come to Paramatma Niketan Rishikesh, join us for our next yoga course or join us for Yoga Day, and really have that opportunity to imbibe that power that women are, the power that we are as Shakti, and then bring that power, fill that power in everything, feel and feel that power in everything that you do. So with that, let's close your eyes for a moment. And allow all of this beautiful sharing to just percolate into your being. आंखें बंद कर लेंगे, श्वासों के प्रति सजग होंगे, ऐसा महसूस करेंगे कि आप हिमालय की गोद में हैं, गंगा जी के तट पे हैं. Feel that you are on the banks of Ma Ganga, in the lap of the sacred Himalayas. Feel that energy from here permeating every cell, every particle of your being. Hear the sounds of the birds chirping. Hear the sound of the sacred mantras that are reverberating in the mountains. Tune into your breath. श्वासों के प्रति सजग रहेंगे. ये श्वास माँ गंगा की लहरों की तरह है. This breath is like the flow of the river Ganga, flowing in and out, in and out. Take a deep breath in and slowly let it go. Become aware of the body temple. Become aware of शरीर के प्रति सजग हो जाएंगे. Slowly wiggle your fingers. हाथों की उंगलियों को हिलाएंगे. अंजनी मुद्रा में हथेलियों को लेके आए. Bring your hands into prayer at heart center. We'll chant the Asuto Ma mantra. Asuto Ma Sadigamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring it to your eyes. We hope this practice was helpful for you, and we welcome you to join our social media pages at Paramartha and join us for our courses and really learn from the banks of Ma Ganga how to live in the power, in the Shakti, in the love, in the light that you are. Jai Gange.